2:15 a.m., December 18, 2025. The Kerch Bridge. In a single violent instant, more than 500 tons of Russian high explosives, disguised as a so-called Christmas peace train, were vaporized in a blinding fireball. Russian air defense operators watched their screens in disbelief as electronic jamming powerful enough to fry household electronics did absolutely nothing to stop what was coming. What was meant to be a geopolitical checkmate turned into a humiliating lesson in physics. To understand how a silent pack of AI-driven drones blinded an air defense network worth billions, you have to rewind exactly 15 minutes. 2 a.m., just 15 feet above the freezing black waves of the Sea of Azov, something unnatural skimmed forward in near silence. This was the Gol-M, Ukraine's heavy-lift mothership drone. But this was not the standard electric version described in defense journals and glossy tech articles. This was a field-modified hybrid. Ukrainian engineers had rebuilt it around a gasoline generator, trading silence for range and payload. The result was a brutish flying machine capable of carrying weapons far beyond what Russian planners believed possible. 150 miles away, deep inside a reinforced bunker near Zaporizhzhia, an operator with the call sign Gamer stared at his screen. Sweat rolled down his temples. His breathing was shallow. A single countdown dominated his display. 45 seconds to the engagement zone. Ahead lay the prize. Rolling across the 11.2-mile rail span of the Kerch Bridge at a steady 50 miles per hour was what Russian state media proudly called the Christmas peace train. White banners hung from the cars, declaring humanitarian aid bound for Crimea. But physics does not believe propaganda. Ukrainian satellites had already flagged something wrong. The suspension on the rail cars was compressed to its absolute mechanical limit. Thermal sensors detected intense heat blooms radiating from inside the cars. That was not blankets. That was solid rocket fuel. This was not a supply train. It was a moving ammunition fortress. After recent F-16 strikes embarrassed Moscow, Russia had not merely repaired the bridge. They had turned it into a weapon. Pantsir S-1M systems sat atop custom-built 100-foot towers to eliminate low-altitude blind spots. S-400 batteries swept 250 miles of sky. Heavy anti-drone nets stretched between bridge arches like steel spiderwebs. Russian commanders were confident. They watched their displays calmly, sipping tea, convinced nothing could penetrate this wall of steel, radar, and electronic noise. And when a single Magura Sea drone appeared on their thermal screens, they likely laughed. The same trick again, they thought. Easy prey for 30mm cannons. They were right about one thing. It was a trick. They were wrong about the direction. While Russian guns angled downward toward the sea, 2 Gol-M drones were already in motion. One was meant to be seen. The other was meant to kill. At 2:04 a.m., Gol-M number 1 began its performance. This was the loud variant, the hybrid beast, its gasoline engine screaming inside the fuselage, giving it the torque to haul 12 drones at once. It climbed aggressively to 1,000 feet, deliberately exposing itself to Russian Big Bird acquisition radar. In the Kerch command post, an operator saw the blip. Large air target, strong return. Bearing confirmed. The trap was sprung. As soon as radar lock was achieved, the Gol-M opened its belly doors. 6 Wild Hornet decoy drones spilled out, followed instantly by another 6 released from underwing pylons. Within seconds, 12 cheap airframes loaded with aluminum corner reflectors scattered in every direction. They climbed, they dove, they juked like angry insects. To Russian fire control computers, a single contact had just exploded into 13 high-speed threats. It looked exactly like a saturation attack. The commander was not completely fooled. He identified the largest return, the carrier. "Kill it," he ordered. A Pantsir on the north tower slewed its turret. A 57E-6 missile leapt from the launcher, accelerating past Mach 3, locked directly onto the mothership's heat signature. Inside the bunker, Gamer saw the missile warning flash. He yanked the controls, banking hard left. But a heavy drone cannot outrun a missile. It should have been over. Then chaos intervened. One of the cheap decoys, flying an erratic, drunken path, drifted straight into the missile's trajectory. The proximity fuse triggered. The explosion tore the decoy apart 200 feet short of the Gol-M. Shrapnel hammered the mothership, punching holes through its skin. But the engine kept screaming. Smoking and shaking, the Golem plunged toward the sea, slipping beneath radar horizon by inches and limping back toward Ukraine. Its job was done. The Russian commander swore. He had missed the big fish, but the sky was still full of targets, and the nightmare was just beginning. At 2:05 a.m., the chaos doubled. On the surface, a Magura V-5C drone entered the fight. Detecting radar lock from a Russian Raptor patrol boat, it executed a sharp 40-degree turn, skidding across the waves. 4 modified FPV drones sat on its wet deck. Their rotors spun up. With a high-pitched whine, they lifted vertically from the moving craft and raced toward the bridge pylons. Now, the Russians faced a 3-dimensional attack. 12 aerial decoys, 4 FPVs rising from the sea, 16 targets converging at once. The Pantsir commander on the south tower screamed orders and switched to auto-engage. 30mm cannons erupted, throwing a wall of tungsten at the water. The Magura danced through geysers, dodging tracers like a boxer slipping punches. Then, physics caught up. A heavy round punched through its Starlink antenna. The sea drone spun helplessly. Seconds later, a Raptor missile finished it. Russian crews cheered. They thought the naval threat was over. But the sky was still full of ghosts. Missile after missile streaked upward at the Wild Hornet decoys. The night above the Kerch Strait erupted in fire. One by one, decoys were shredded. Others slipped through gaps by pure luck. The defenders were winning, or so it seemed. When the shooting finally slowed, the air reeked of cordite and burning plastic. Smoke from 16 destroyed drones drifted across the strait, blinding thermal cameras. Inside the command vehicle, operators high-fived. Clean sweep, someone said. They had intercepted everything. What they had not done was the math. Each Pantsir carried 12 ready-to-fire missiles. Reloading took 15 minutes and required a crane. In 90 seconds of panic fire, the South Tower had fired 10 missiles. The North Tower had fired 8. Millions of dollars had been spent shooting down plywood toys. At the same time, Kraska jammers were pushed to maximum power, flooding the spectrum with noise strong enough to kill civilian communications across Crimea. They believed they were building an electronic shield. In reality, they were blinding themselves. No one noticed the ammo counters dropping into the red. No one noticed that beneath the drifting smoke, just 10 feet above the waves, Golem No. 2 had already slipped past the kill zone. It had not fired, it had not been seen, it was waiting. Then, Kyiv played its final card. The Big Bird radar screamed again. High speed inbound, Mach 0.9. A single R-360 Neptune cruise missile skimmed the waves toward the bridge. With the Pantsirs depleted, the Russians turned to their crown jewel. An S-400 battery engaged. The intercept was textbook. The Neptune was destroyed half a mile upwind of the bridge. A massive explosion bloomed in the night. Cheers erupted again. Then something strange happened. The explosion did not dissipate. Carried by strong sea winds, it rolled directly onto the bridge deck, forming a dense cloud. This was no ordinary warhead. Ukrainian engineers had replaced explosives with multi-band aerosol smoke and metallic chaff. The fog did not just block vision, it blinded thermal cameras, it swallowed radar waves whole. Russian screens went white. For 3 minutes, a billion-dollar air defense network was staring at nothing. And that was exactly when Golem No. 2 struck. Through its onboard camera, the bridge emerged from the thinning cloud. Russian radars were still blind. The Christmas peace train rolled on unaware. Thermal filters revealed bright red hotspots in cars 12 through 18. Solid rocket fuel. Target confirmed, Gamer whispered. Drop the Vanguard. The belly bay opened. 6 Wild Hornet FPVs fell away, streaking toward the train. Guards opened fire with AK-12 and PKMS from the rail cars. 2 drones were hit. A third tangled in the anti-drone net. But the guards were focused forward. Above them, the clamp snapped open. 6 AI-enabled Wild Hornets dropped silently. These were the executioners. Each carried a shaped charge and an onboard AI module. Radio links were cut. Jamming no longer mattered. They formed a loose V. Detecting the net, the lead drone executed a coordinated vertical pop-up. All 6 climbed together, clearing the steel mesh by inches. The guards looked up. Then gravity took over. 2:15 a.m. impact. The first drone struck car 14. A shaped charge detonated, forming a jet of molten copper traveling at 25,000 feet per second. It punched through the roof and into stacked artillery shells. Sympathetic detonation followed instantly. The fireball expanded at hypersonic speed. Steel liquefied. Rail cars were hurled into the air. Drones 2 and 3 ignited rocket motors in cars 16 and 17. Burning propellant spun across the bridge like giant pinwheels, heating rails beyond structural limits. At 2,000 degrees, steel behaved like plastic. The train became a 1,000-foot dragon of fire. Secondary explosions rippled down the line. 500 tons of ammunition vanished. The Gol M turned for home. The bridge still stood, but its rail span was destroyed. No train would cross for months. Ukraine spent perhaps $200,000. Russia lost tens of millions in cargo and billions in logistics capability. Moscow wanted to send a message. Ukraine sent one back. Return to sender. Bye for now.